photography when you are in the center of your space. And everything, every experience you connect with is such a fullness about it, which magnifies your experience. So it doesn't matter how many frames or whatever technology you use. If your heart is not connected to the sensor of your camera, then it's far away from everything else.
सर, आप पिछले 50 सालों से फोटोग्राफी कर रहे हैं, 51 साल हुए, सबसे ज़्यादा आपको इम्प्रेस किसने किया या आप किससे इम्प्रेस हुई? लाइक जैसे मदर टेरेसा का
नहीं, मदर भी थी, अभी आजकल His Holiness Dalai Lama, I tell you, his being with him and his spiritual energy, those of you who meditate can feel his spiritual energy from maybe 100 meters, 200 meters. So I am blessed that I have been very close to such great saintly people. Actually, the last book that I did on Mother Teresa was 9-10 years ago. And the title was The Saint Mother. It's a different matter that Vaticans have taken several years to understand that. That's not my problem. And let me tell you, I don't know about Allah or Ram or Krishna, but I can certainly say about Guru Nanak, about Buddha, and maybe even about Christ, the kind of spiritual energies they were and the power they have. His Holiness is as powerful as Buddha can be. And Buddha was known only in few areas to a limited number of audience. Today, wherever His Holiness Dalai Lama goes, the energy, the power, and the love and affection he carries is so magnificent that it has got so much charge. And even when I was photographing Mother, I used to say, anybody who takes pictures here are going to be very good pictures, because what is, people think art and creativity is about beauty. Beautiful mountains are beautiful mountains. It doesn't become a creative moment. The purpose of creativity is to capture the spirit, the power, the energy, the aura, the experience. And these kind of individuals, they have it so much there. And when they connect with others, you can see there is certain kind of light, power, waking up within all of us. And we are charged with it. And that is the most magical part of being a human being. And that's where we are missing out. क्योंकि दिल से तो हम जीते ही नहीं. We are such proper, nice, civilized people. We try to be so good to everybody in such a superficial and silly way. So how are you? I said, why should I tell you how I am? You meet me after so many days and you want to know everything? No, I won't tell you. A friend of mine, artist friend, in a party of celebrities, he's coming and hugging everybody, and then he comes to me. And the last guy he hugged was such an obnoxious guy. He comes to hug me. I said, don't touch me. So, you have to feel them. They are not there. It's not written. कि तुम्हारा जो अंदर का राडार है वो इतना जागा हुआ होना चाहिए कि भगवान भी सोचे कि इसके पास जाऊं कि नहीं जाऊं, तब तो मजा है. देखो यार, ट्रेजेडी की बातें क्यों करते हैं हम? देखो कितने आगे की बात कर रहे हैं. देखिए, मैं आपको बताऊं कि हमने न्यूज़पेपर में और मैगजीन में 20-25-30 साल काम किया है. Big events, tragic events, dramatic events, they give you big, quick, dramatic pictures. So it's no big deal. Okay? ये रोज का जीना है और रोज का मरना है. जो उस दरिया से गुजर जाता है और उसको समझता है, तो वो कलाकार बनता है. बाकी न्यूज़
म्यूजिक पे बताइए. म्यूजिक पे आपने किया है वो, अभी ऐसी म्यूजिक तो नहीं सुनने को नहीं मिलती जैसा आपने मैयर घराने और ये सब कुछ किया है. उसका रिलेशन आर्ट फोटोग्राफी से कितना आज
नहीं, मेरे लिए तो बहुत अहमियत रखता है। देखिए, मेरे लिए दो बड़ी बातें थी। एक नेचर है, ऑल्सो ब्यूटीफुल पीपल आई लव, चिल्ड्रन आई लव, आई ड्रिंक फ्रॉम देयर आईज। व्हाट डू आई ड्रिंक? द इनोसेंस, द प्योरिटी दे हैव इन देयर आईज। ओह, I drink from their eyes. The most joyful experience is to see children, and when they are being themselves, and so much energy they exuberate. क्या बात है, poetry है जीने की। मेरी बेटी पता नहीं आई है कि नहीं आई है, छोटी, when they were small, you know, my 4 years old daughter, we bought a farmland, and which was about 15 kilometers from my house in Maroli. So it was month of May, June, very hot months. And my wife said, no, it's a very good piece of land, but it was ravines. So she said, you go and landscape it. I said, yeah, kya pagalpan, I don't know how to landscape it. So I went there, I roamed around for 2-3 days, and then I decided to get a bulldozer and malis. So I started bulldozing very carefully. But how? I will go walk around and get some feeling and some signals that I can do something here. So I will do something there. So at that time, senior लोग,
I would
so sorry.
Can I please request some of the youngsters behind to just, give some chairs for the senior people, please? Mr. Pereira, please, if you could also,
देखो, they say writing poetry is very precious, but this child of mine. आ जाओ यार।
please, have a seat. Mr. Pereira, please.
यार, उस परवेज के बाद तो तुम ही परवेज हो यार, आ जाओ यार, इस तरफ के बाद। It was 6 acres of land, which I called 6 acres of canvas that I was painting on daily basis. So I go to the farm, and there were some wild bushes. So I said, well, these are the original owners of this land, these wild bushes, so I leave them. So after a few days, I discovered one of the bush had small little flowers, white flowers. So I plucked one, smelled it, it was very nice, beautiful fragrance. So my 4-year-old daughter, her name is Avni. Not that we went into details to find out what name to give. My wife liked it and gave her the name. And she is so much Avni, so much dharti, ground to earth as a person also. So she will prefer to come with me in this hot months of May and June when I was landscaping. So she comes with me, this 4-year-old little girl. And each day I go there, I walk around. Now, this exercise, photography is not just photography. You have to live on so many levels to enrich your life and to enrich your eye and your soul with all these things. So it was a very hot day, end of May, and each time I go to the farm, I'll walk around first and get the feel and then begin something. So we were walking and she says, Papa, today is very hot. Papa, aap mujhe utha lo. I said, no baby, nobody picks up anybody. So we walk around. Another 10-15 minutes, he says, Papa, please, mujhe aap utha. I said, maybe nobody picks up anybody in this village. Everybody is on their own, and you have to walk. And after a few minutes again, she says, Papa, please, aap mujhe utha. I said, baby, I have told you nobody picks up anybody. So that little flower that I gave her, oh, there she arrives. Hi, Batilu. Your nanny is also sitting here.
I'll say hi, you go on, Papa, please.
So, you see, she was carrying that little flower all this while. And she says, Papa, pick me up. I said, nobody picks up anybody. So she says, Papa, मैं भी तो इसको लेके चल रही हूँ. No, that is not poetry, that is living poetry. You live it on daily basis. And my other girl, Firoze, when she was 9, and the stick Meke asked me to go to Nainital to speak to high school girls. उससे कनेक्ट करने के लिए we don't need anything. There is a direct connection that can happen from here to there. And if you have this in your hands, which becomes part of that exercise, तो दर्शन लाजमी है. दर्शन जो है, जो मैं भी सोचता था कि कब दर्शन होंगे, जब कई दफे मुझे लोग पूछते कि कैरी योर कैमरा एवरीवेयर, आई सेड अरे क्या भरोसा है भगवान कब दर्शन दे दे, कब ग्रेट मोमेंट दर्शन दे दे. अब मैंने ये कहना सेपरेट अलग छोड़ दिया है, ये दर्शन कंटिन्यूअस है. The connectivity with child sense of wonder. And but what is happening in photography, which is very dangerous also, as I said earlier, that photography with the camera in your hand gives you the strength to live for the moment, and you go by from moment to moment. You are living because your heart, your feelings are directly connected with every inch of space. So your mind is not functioning anywhere. Now the flip side of it is that this computer that God has been installing in all of us, which is biggest memory, and you can extend it to anything, the information, the sights and the sounds and the images it stores. 80-90% of the time people photograph from here, not from here. Their eye is connected to their computer here, not to their heart. And if it's not connected to your heart, so the influences and the second-rate quality of similar situations makes it look, अरे यार था तो अच्छा लेकिन आया नहीं, कहाँ से आएगा? दिल तो तुम्हारा कहीं और है, दिमाग के तुम सारा प्लान कर रहे हो. See, even philosophies happens later on. First, it's a moment of realization and experience. You have a direct experience of a situation, and you say, "Oh my God!" And then you say, "Acha, yaar, this is what it was." Then you say कि ये बात बनी, ये philosophy थी. अगर आप philosophy समझ के उस पे काम करें तो you are nowhere. Today, conceptual art. Let me tell you, once in a while that conceptual artist produces some interesting photograph, because accidents do take place in any form of styles. But let me tell you, this little fellow here, no matter what the biggest computer God has been installing, they say we've learned to use less than 1% of that. So this guy is good for nothing when it comes to creativity. Yes, Devi.
You made a wonderful book on trees, and I think what you're saying comes through in that book, the whole connect that you have with nature, the feeling, the art. Can you talk a little more about your connect with nature, because you love nature?
Yeah, you see now, the book that I did on trees was not a planned, programmed subject that I was working on. And actually most of my projects which I'll be doing in future are happening now, are not planned. Now you see, when you have an agenda, when you have certain responsibility that you have to photograph this, and you have to complete your book on this, or you have to photograph so and so politician, or this NGO, or that situation, your mind gets programmed. And creativity happens beyond programming. Now, when I was photographing trees, I was not going each day to photograph the trees. If I was going for a Congress session in Chikmagalur or wherever, in South there was, and on the way, we were traveling by car for 5 hours this way, 5 hours that way, and on the way, the landscape, the trees, the amazing experience. And when you make yourself available mentally, physically and spiritually, then they nudge you, they say, hey, where do you go? Come, here I am. And that's a true moment of creativity and richness. You see, these photo shoots, you guys also organize?
What's that?
Photo shoots?
What photo shoots do you mean? Oh, photo walks?
Photo walks and shoots. Terrible things.
It's a good thing I didn't say yes.
Because, communists जो हैं, the way they are regimented, they would have produced many great artists by now. This is a lonesome journey which happens in silence. And if you get together and go with the cameras to celebrate and to take pictures, sure you can have lots of fun. पर दर्शन नहीं होने वाली है, बस ये देख लीजिए आप. So that book was born out of those nudges and those joyful experiences when we had direct connection without wanting to do anything, wanting to do it.
It's where you, just on the connection bit, and how important is it for you to connect to anybody that you're photographing? Some of the most iconic portraits that you've taken, like of Mother Teresa and so on. So can you tell us a little bit about how that process works and how important is it for you to get connected to the individual to photograph?
नहीं देखिए, इसको तो छोड़िए. डेली लाइफ में आपके बिल जो है, बिजली का बिल एक्सेजरेटेड आता है और वहाँ पे करप्ट ऑफिसर बैठा है, तो आप अपना बिल लेके जाते हैं और आप डर के कह रहे हैं सर मैं एक घर में आया हूँ. और from the other side, if you go to that officer or whoever is the guy and you say, listen, look into his eyes and talk to him with the confidence and directness, the connection is made. But if you haven't made the connection and you are going choo choo choo, he says, हाँ बैठिए बैठिए मैं आपको अभी समझाता हूँ. Connection has to be made direct. It has to be a direct connection with anything and everything. Otherwise, nobody in this world. The world is so wicked somewhere. Those who reach there, they want to sit there and look down. And they don't even want to milao nazars with you, so that you don't think that they recognize you or they want you around. ये जीने का process है, which has to be reversed. हमारा education system जो बीमार. But today's children are amazing. The way they look at you, and talk to you, and ask you questions are amazing.
What do you think about the selfie generation? They call everybody these days with fine smartphones. Do you think, Mr. Rai, that there are more and more people these days who don't enjoy the moment and they just remove their camera and they just want to take pictures and they just keep on looking at themselves all the time?
क्यों नहीं? Self-love is very important. It definitely begins from the self. Somebody, if they love themselves so much, but also, this is a silly little exercise which costs you nothing. You can take 100 selfies in a day and you can please 100 people and come back with distorted features and faces and togetherness. You see, the other day, there was one channel did a program on selfies, and there was BJP guy also, there was a Congress guy also. So they began they started attacking each other, that Modi keeps doing this and Rahul couldn't do that and that kind of rubbish. I said, whatever Modi did or Rahul did or even Obama did, they all had pakoda noses because the noses were so distorted, and because the fact that a big leader is doing is a big deal, is rubbish. I mean, you see it once and you say, yes, very interesting. Second time, no man. This is also the first rule of creativity. That you see, or conceptual art, or the kind of photography people do. They find an idea and they go on repeating it in different forms, in different physical situations, and they say, what an idea. Man, the first principle of creativity is that there has to be no repetition of any kind. When it repeats, it becomes familiar, and this is familiarity breeds content.
But do you think, Mr. Rai, is also because of the age of communication now? Like, for instance, earlier you were saying that there aren't people like this, there aren't writers like those, like how they used to be earlier. Similarly, now it's such an interconnected world, whether it's digitally, whether it's by print, whether it's online, whatever. And earlier there only used to be one or two newspapers, there used to be only one or two news channels, and everybody would wait the next day to see what the big news was. But now everything waits online on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. So do you think it's all because everybody's too exposed, that's the reason why such situations arise?
देखिए, एक पहली बात है कि everybody is breaking news, you know, and breaking the hell out of every news and every bit of the sensitivity that it should have. Those sensitive details, they don't exist anymore. Bulk of the camera works by all channels is so bad and so quick and so distorted that they should feel ashamed of it. Nobody bothers. The idea is fast food generation to sell, to somehow collect and throw it at the audience. And people like Arnav Goswami, what obnoxious guys they've become. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm bringing in some of these things because they are hurting the spirit of some of the nice people in this country. And if he thinks he's a big hero, I don't know. And this is a cruel act. And you see one channel, you know, making announcement and a sword coming and slashing the headline. The other guys are putting their headlines on fire. All drama because they've got nothing substantial and meaningful to explore and share with the public. It's all rubbish. You guys are buying it, they are selling it. Look at Hindi cinema. 90% of it is fantastic nonsense and we all.
Sir, who is the hero now for you? You have observed some hero?
What kind of heroes?
Anyway, like you mentioned, Arnav.
Bollywood person.
Another superhero who's the king of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan. I tell you, the face is pretentious actor. Most pretentious, and he makes faces. And he thinks, क्या बात है मेरी acting. And he's so full of himself कि character तो उसमें आता ही नहीं है. सिर्फ शाहरुख आता है. पहले अमिताभ ऐसा होता था. हर फिल्म में अमिताभ ही दिखाई देता था. कोई भी character हो. In the last 10 years, he somehow understood feelings.
So,